Peace in the Middle East, North, South, West. Oh my goodness, y'all. It's been a while since I've been live. I wanted to do an update with me and just continue on with this channel. I was gonna do a video, but then I realized I could just go live. I'm grateful for the fact that I can do that on this channel. I'm gonna have some lunch. I have been fasting all day. It's about 1:40 in the afternoon. So I'm gonna have my first meal, which is rice noodles. There's broccoli in there, spinach, bean sprouts. What else? Got some green scallops in here, I think. And I also have a soy-free tofu. My mom made lunch today. This is soy-free tofu. It's a Canadian company, from a company called Big Mountain. And yeah, that's what I'm eating today. Looks great. So as I sit and eat, I'm just gonna do a follow-up or a little update simply about, because my page here is Mooncell Alchemist. That's the page, that's the name that came about over a few years. I don't know how people do mukbangs, but we're gonna try and do that today. But yeah, I had this name Mooncell Alchemist for a few years, and before that, I had Mooncell Salve. I was in that phase of I guess you could call the villain era, if you will. Even though nowadays the villain era is still kind of about because of all the politics and everything going on in the world. So I know everyone has their villain era at certain times, Anywho, after learning more about my healing abilities, I switched from Mooncell Salve to Mooncell Alchemist, and it was an adjustment phase because I didn't necessarily want to continue holding all this anger, holding all this pain, and this is not just again about just sickle cell. However, I happen to have sickle cell, so kind of speaking about both experiences of chronic pain, physical pain, and even emotional pain, spiritual pains. I feel like a lot of people are having awakenings right now. A lot of different type of spiritual awakenings are becoming more conscious of the fact that the system that we're in or the construct of the world that we're in, especially not even especially the west side, I think the whole entire earth, and not the nature of earth, but the actual construct that it's built upon. A lot of people are questioning it now, and people questioning it means you're not them. People questioning it means that things are naturally going to shift throughout the world because some people might stop taking action, some people might take different actions, some people might literally change their whole life and decide to leave a career path that they're on because they figured out multiple purposes or that one big purpose, and this is all based on construct. Now, this shit happens at different times, when I'm talking about like awakenings, becoming more conscious or aware of where you live, like the actual reality of things, and realizing something might be off. Something might be off about how we go about doing things because there's too many people starving, or there's too many people homeless, or there's too many people who have health issues or mental problems, all these things. So clearly something is off with how the system is built. And I'm saying that because throughout the ages of time, things like awakenings have happened like in different phases, in different spaces of time, literally. One good example of that is the Y2K era, and how, in 1999, people thought that the world was going to end. And it kind of did, because Y2K era 2000s brought in a timeline of more technology, more virtual art, WWW, the World Wide Web. So the world as we knew it, it's not that it ceased to exist, it's just that it integrated into a new type of world. Hey, peace. Before that, before like the virtual side of technology was, the old video games, or the telephone, or transportation, like different forms of technology that wasn't necessarily about bringing everyone together. It was just more about just convenience. And the thing about technology is that it's always going to be about convenience. And now we're in a time where it's super, super convenient. We can talk to each other through a screen, someone from a totally different side of the world. We can have a video conversation. But yeah, no, I'm just more sharing based off of my experience. So my point about talking about this is that everyone has their own time of realizing their life or their purpose, or realizing reality, or realizing, maybe the media isn't fully like always right, like at all. um and that's obvious, because we should be able to differentiate between fictitious things and the real world. I remember that show, The Real World. It's a reality show of young people, young adults living together, experiencing the real world. Now, reality TV is ironic because sometimes it's not real, it's scripted, but it's just to show you your reality, your mind is important, and it exists for a reason, right? So during Y2K, people had awakenings, or people were freaking out. It was either, oh my God, the world's about to end, it's the apocalypse. What are we gonna do? You have the people that um build their bunkers and pack up and stock and things like that. And this is actually crazy because it's kind of happening right now. But Y2K was that time where everyone thought the world was gonna end, and then you had people that weren't necessarily in fear about the world ending, They were considered the crazy ones, or the conspiracy theorists at the time, or pseudoscientists, or mad. Quite mad. Like even back in the day, they used to call people mad when they were crazy, or when they just had a certain way of seeing life. Um, they call people crazy, right? So I don't think being crazy equates to being in fear. You can be, you can say New World Order in Y2K, right? In 2000s, the year 2000s. You can say the world is changing, or you can say the world is ending. And on the other side, the person either thinks they're crazy or they're in fear. So those type of timelines exist and happen more often than not. And they usually happen in certain like cycles or phases. After 2000s, a decade later, or throughout that decade, you had movies like 2012, The Day After Tomorrow, Independence Day. Or Independence Day was what, in the 90s? Can't remember, but there's more than one Independence Day. Those type of movies that show you, oh my god, apocalypse, the world's gonna end, the earth's gonna crack open. So 2012's coming about, and people get scared again. Now you have a new generation, and the same Y2K cycle of the world's ending now in 2000, coming into 2012. So it's a different time, but it's the same history, which is why they say history repeats itself and all that stuff. However, we're in a time of history like never before. So at some point, history is gonna want to evolve itself. So 2012, again, the same apocalyptic type of and even before 2012, you had the times in the 2000s of, I'm not gonna say these names, these pandemic like occurrences that happen. And then you have after 2012, things kind of are chill, people are living their lives, and then boom, we get hit with another type of pandemic that turns into the world's ending. And now we're in a space where people feel this new world order type of energy occurring. And I'm saying all of this because in my experience, the reason why I was even off of my YouTube for a bit, not for too long, but I had to like recollect myself, recalibrate, reset, is there's so much to share in regards to my experience with sickle cell while having a type of awakening or spiritual awakening, if you will, if you want to say it like that. And at the time, in the year 2016 or 2015, 2015 to 2017 was like the snooze button of my awakening, because when you wake up, or you're trying to wake up in the morning or rising time, and you might be tired, so you press the snooze button, and maybe you do it a couple times. You give yourself like 5 minutes, and every time you press the snooze button. That's kind of what happened to me. And after a while, it was like, oh, like you don't really go back to sleep or back to, you just don't go back to sleep, right? In a sense of you don't have that, a certain part of your mind doesn't just turn off. Once you become aware of your capabilities, your abilities, your limitlessness, when you become aware of um, the fact that you're connected to source, you're connected to the divine, to the universe, to God, to Allah, to source, like, and I'm saying it in a way of not having to be forced in, this is the way to connect to the divine, but actually having to wake up and go through that yourself is a different experience for anybody. Like, so just coming from a space of having sickle cell, I realized, okay, well, a part of my experience is to learn healing, to learn how to heal, to learn how to heal myself so that others can also learn how to heal themselves. And with chronic pain, sometimes you think that it's just, there's no use or there's no way out of it, or like, you know, there's no solution, when in actuality there is. It's just, if you are limited in your mind, as soon as you come here and you're born, and you're limited in your mind based on like, here we already constructed a mind for you, take this, put it on, and use this to live your life. When it's like, as a child, we are explorative beings, you know, we're imaginative, like we are excited, we want to learn, we want to know what's that, what's this, why. And we lose that, a lot of us lose that gradually because of the construct, because of the system we're in. It creates a mind for you after a certain age of already pre-programming you so that, okay, be this way. When, like what? Like if you are limitless, then why limit yourself? And this has nothing to do with being an evil person and just hurting people because you want to do whatever you want to do. And like, no, this is about learning truly, um, for the mind is powerful, you know, truly learning that the mind is powerful. So I'm saying that because when I had my awakening, before I had my awakening, all I knew was a certain way of being, a certain way of living, which I didn't really have a problem with. I didn't really have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it. It was just something I accepted, right? And the thing that I accepted was I growing up, I have sickle cell anemia. I trained in dance. I love music. You know, I'm trained in these things. I know my culture. And, you know, I'm going to school, going to dance, going to the hospital. Going to school, going to dance, going to the hospital. And, you know, especially in high school, they try to force you, because it's a part of the programming, they try to force you to already know what you want to do by the time you're 17. Before you graduate, you need to know what you want to do for the rest of your life. What? Oh, man. So, I'm living life. School, dance, hospital. School, arts, hospital. School, arts, hospital. That was the rhythm. That was the pattern. That was the cycle. That was my life at the time. And then after high school, I got into dance more in a sense. And it wasn't like I had a plan, like I wanted to do this. I when I was younger, I wanted to be a pediatrician and all these things. But my spirit always brought me back to art and biology and like science and health and wellness because of my sickle cell. So it was like wellness and art, two important things for me. Now for me, I am more free spirited. So again, I didn't have a plan. I was supposed to go to London, England for dance. That didn't end up happening. So I chose something here instead where I live in Canada. And again, I always knew that art was going to be my life, whether it was dance, music, or other things that I'm now discovering I can do, like abstract painting. So doing that and experiencing that and embodying that, okay, I like art and this is what I want to do, but then being told by family or friends or outside minds, what are you doing? You need to go to college. What do you think this is? You know? Because the thing about it is, the matrix, the system that we're in wants you gotta like what's what are you doing? It's like a job. What position are you applying for, you know? Because if you're not doing it a certain way, you're kind of glitching out the matrix with your free spirited ass. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a bit more challenging because let's say if you listen to what people have to say about what you should do about your life, then that's what you're going to do. Listen to other people and not choose what you want to do with your life. Right? So it's not really a complaint or a shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm glad I went to college. It was only for a year. It's not like I stayed on campus or anything. It was a private college, but it was still learning, and I love to learn. And I got to learn things that I actually want to learn, like biology and pathology and all those things. So this is just an example though of me being free-spirited, deciding to do what I love, going with the flow of that. Then outside of my mind or outside of what I would like to do, someone's coming in to tell me, why are you not doing this? You should be doing this. You listen to that, and then it kind of halts you go on a different path. You do. And that's okay, because you can always go back to your path. However, going on a different path because someone told you to, that's automatically going back to matrix thought. That's automatically going back to, we gave you this mind construct when you were born. Why are you taking it off? You know? So, luckily, things usually work out for you. Things always work out for me. You can say that as an affirmation because it does. I went to college and I enjoyed myself and I learned things that are good to know anyway, right? It's always going to be how you look at things too, right? So after college though, it's like I got deeper and deeper into the matrix codes, and not in a sense of me like reading them. I was getting embedded, encoded into the fabric of the matrix. And I'm not talking about Neo yet. I'm talking about just your average autopilot, getting a 9 to 5 job, going to work, going back home. Like I got into that cycle when coming out of high school. I already knew that was me, but it led more into my awakening, anyways, because after after graduating, I got a job in my field, and at the first point, or the first few weeks, I was so excited. I was so yeah, I was excited because I love to learn, right? And the first part of the training was learning about chemistry and biology and the things that I love. So I was like, yeah, I love learning this, you know? Come to find out that, yeah, that was just the training. So I had the right information, but the position itself was traumatizing, to say the least. And I'm saying this because it helped me more and more with my awakening. It was traumatizing because I had to work with prescriptions and patients, and just knowing how sick people were, knowing how the mental illness in Canada is enormous. So, and I didn't know at the time I was an empath, and I was sensitive to other people's energies, and I was clairvoyant. Like I didn't know any of these things, right? So it led me into panic attacks. That didn't make sense at the time. Now I know why it makes sense, which I can break down even more. But that is the kind of start of how I was striving to escape the matrix and create my reality. So I'll come back with more conversations about that in a part 2, and I'll see you in the next live. Peace, love, light, always balance darkness and chaos when it arises.